what a closing stretch to the season. What a performance today. What a unique circumstance. Your thoughts on the game? Maybe we just start there.
Well, I gain more and more respect for guys who do this in their 70s by the day. So guys like Coach Boeheim and Coach Williams, the Hall of Famers, who are still tricking away and winning a bunch of ball games. It's a lot of fun when you got a group of guys who care about each other. Man, winning is hard, but it's certainly enjoyable going on the road and banding together the way we did under some, obviously, circumstances, which I'm sure people were easily willing to take the other team in today's matchup.
These last, especially really in these last 7 or so games, it seems like there's no winning formula the same over and over again. It seems like it's been a completely different performance, and all of them seem to be working. Is that something that you would end up taking more pride in than almost anything out of this?
But part of it is the beauty and challenge of the Big 12. I say it all the time. I think it's what makes the Big 12 the best basketball conference in the country is, every game you're looking across from you and there's a Hall of Fame coach with really good players who's been in every situation imaginable, and everybody plays differently. And so if you're going to have success in this league on any level, with any level of consistency, you have to be able to adapt. And our kids have been unbelievably adaptable to whatever situation was thrown at us, whether it be style of play, foul trouble, injuries, whatever the case may be. Obviously, we had a pause early in the season, and I'm just proud of these guys. To finish the season the way we did when, again, everybody looked at the rescheduling deal and said, man, you guys got a tough draw. And, to be honest, I've faced enough adversity throughout both my life and my career here. I don't really sweat it like that. It's an opportunity to go out there and compete. And if we have a chance to go out there and compete, we're going to try to prepare as best we can and try to put ourselves in position to win.
All right, members of the media, we had all kinds of great questions about Cade for the players. Maybe now we kind of shift more of the focus towards the guys that played today.
Good luck. So,
it's worth a shot, right? All right, if you guys could just raise hand, we'll try and get to everybody. So our first question will come from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Mike, I want to start with Avery's day. He said he knew he needed to do more. What did you see from him and his growth today alone?
I think it's a great sign for the future of Oklahoma State basketball, that we got a guy who's gotten better. I think he's the most improved player in the country. I think he's the most improved player in our league by far. And today was an example with, our best player in Cade and our leader in Ice both out, that he just did a little bit more than he's been playing well now. He's having a really good year. But I thought today, knowing what the moment required, that he stepped up to the challenge and certainly met it.
His jumper there late, I asked him to kind of walk me through it, where he waved Caleb away from the low post and ISO. He said it was kind of by design to get that matchup. Is that what you were wanting there?
Yeah, we Avery had it going today pretty good, and I trust him completely to make a play. I've said this before. I'm not sure how many. He might be the best guy that we have at creating a shot. Cade's our best guy, and at the end of the day, Avery understands at the end of games, Cade's gonna have the ball in his hands. But I don't feel bad at all. Like today when we were close and I knew it was going to come down to us having to execute, putting the ball in Avery's hands, knowing that he's going to be able to get a shot, especially if teams are going to just have one defender guard him. So we got the switch that we thought we could try to take advantage of, and he stepped up and made a huge shot.
And you got big days from other guys too. MA had a big day, both Boone twins, but Bernie too. Kind of talk about just the depth that you guys put on display today.
Yeah, I don't know because I don't pay attention every game. I think it was a career high minutes. I knew, again, there was an opportunity here to see how much we could push Bernie in a perfect game for him, right? They're not going to run a bunch of little guards out there. They're going to be a big physical team, and it lends itself as part of the reason, be honest, we recruited a guy like Bernie for a game like this, and I thought he met that challenge in an unbelievable fashion. Obviously, he fouled out, or else he may have been closer to 25 minutes. But his rebound and his presence on the defensive end, just having a body on Culver, I thought was a big shot in the arm for us because, those are the matchups that Caleb struggled with, to be perfectly frank. And Bernie came in and gave us a big lift.
You went to Bernie real quick, too. I think within the first minute you went to him. Why was that?
I didn't like what I saw early on. Thought I could try to shake up the lineup a little bit, and I thought it helped us.
And last one for me for now, the free throw discrepancy, the turnover issues again. You guys still overcome something like that. A month ago, I don't know if you guys do that. How far has this team come in the last month or so?
Again, I don't think about it that way. I think of if we can figure out over the next couple of days before we head to Kansas City how to cut down on some of these turnovers. How good can we still become? That's my job, is to make these guys better, but how much better can we become over the next 2 to 3 weeks? And my hope is that we can watch film and figure out how to cut down on some of these turnovers. Again, part of it is today we're playing out without our 2 first and second most primary ball handlers. Not to excuse it, but Bryce can't have 8 turnovers in a situation like that. But if we get that corrected, I feel very confident that we can, again, I've said it all along, we can compete with and beat most anybody in the country.
Thanks, Mike.
Our next question comes from Barry Trammell from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, I'm going to ask whatever I want to ask.
Yes, you can.
Somebody doesn't like it, they can knock me off the Zoom.
Nah, you're good, Barry. Go for it,
but here's the deal, Mike. It's one thing to go to West Virginia and beat those guys without Likely and without Cade, but you did it with massive foul trouble. I mean, Matthew fouls out, Kuma fouls out, Avery's got 4 down the stretch, Caleb's got 4 down the stretch. What kind of things were you able to do even after you were shorthanded? You were double shorthanded. What did you do to make sure you still got the mission accomplished?
Well, you set a tone within your program of what's acceptable, and making excuses isn't one of those things that we allow here. If you're on scholarship here, you're required to be ready to help us win. That's part of your responsibility back to our program. And so I don't worry, really, whoever's available. It's been this way since my first year. I remember going to Kansas on a 3-game losing streak without Tavar Shine, and all we talked about was how we're going to win. And I think over time, guys just don't think about losing. Like, that's not part of the conversation. We just think about, what do we need to do? Whoever's available. What does Avery need to do today a little bit better? What does Caleb today need to do a little bit better? And that message is consistently delivered, not just for me, but my staff and then the leaders within the locker room. I looked those kids in the eye right before the game and told them, we expect to win. I mean, again, I understand why people would assume we couldn't or wouldn't have a chance, but those kids are warriors, man. They fight, they compete, they love each other. And I was not surprised at all by the way we played.
Did West Virginia just hammering the ball inside the last 6-7 minutes? I think they made maybe 2 baskets the last 7 minutes. Was that a case of you knew the whistle's coming, you were just going to have to basically score on the other end? It seemed like after you had a 2 or 3 point lead, you're going to win if you can score almost every time, and you ended up doing that.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of you understand, and I think the officials work really hard. But there's a guy over there with 900 wins that's gone in the Hall of Fame who's chewing their air a little bit, and you got to understand that you're going to have to go win the game. You don't rely on anything external. Band together, figure out how to get a rebound when the ball's in the air, and then execute as well as you can offensively. Because yes, you're going to have to get shots in areas that you need them, and then you're going to have to step up and make free throws when they do call fouls for you. And we did that.
Thanks, Mike.
Our next question comes from Garen Emick from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Garen.
Mike, a lot has been made of Cade's unselfishness over the course of the year. But on one extreme, people are wondering if he's maybe too unselfish at times. Conversely, is his willingness to get his teammates involved and share the ball like he's done all year, does it put you in position where your guys can compensate like they did today?
No question. Cade was a big part of today's win. He was as vocal as he's been all year on the bench and timeouts. And I looked at him before the game during our meeting and said, hey, we need you today. Like, don't just go over there and sit down and not be engaged. Sure, you're not going to play. We understand why, but there's still other things that you can bring. And I didn't have to tell him that. I just knew that I should so his other teammates could hear, but I knew he would be that way. He's always been that way. It's who he is. It's why some of the criticism I've always said was unfair. The kid only cares about winning. And whether he's going to go out there and score 25 and take 25 shots or he's not going to play at all, he's going to be a great teammate every day. And it's one of the things that I believe, and I'm biased here, no question, that he's the best player in the country. because he does have the talent and the expectations that he should be the man, but he doesn't let that distract from the main priority, which is trying to help his teammates in our program have success while he's here.
Has he made them measurably better, or have they done that on their own, his teammates, over the course of this season? Or what's the combination like there?
It's been both. And I think they've made him better, to be perfectly honest. You know, I mean, again, Avery Anderson is better because he has to go against Cade every day. But Avery wants that. There are many times in our preseason when we more mix up our teams as opposed to playing the rotational guys versus the guys who aren't playing as much, that Avery didn't want to be on the same team as Cade. When we play one-on-one in practice, which we do a lot, Avery wants to guard Cade. Now, he gets scored on a lot, but that makes him better because when he goes out there on the court like he did today, he's not playing against anybody better than he goes against in practice. And so there's a comfort level in the competitiveness of our team that any kind of situation we get in, and it benefits everybody. Cade's gotten better. The other guys have gotten better. And because of that, our team is getting better.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Marshall Scott from Pistols Firing. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Mike, I think a draft guy earlier in the year said that Cade was carrying mediocre talent. Oh, sorry, I didn't even know my video was off. Cade was carrying mediocre talent. Have you had to keep that noise away from the guys? You mentioned telling them before the game that you expect to win.
No, Cade's done that. Cade's kept that noise away from him. He infuses confidence in these guys every day. Again, there's a reason. Cade should have more assists than he does so far this year. He hasn't stopped passing the ball. He still passes the ball to guys that are open, and that continues to give them the belief that he knows that they're good enough to help him also. Now, there's no question. He's elevated the level of play for a lot of the individual guys, but those guys are all really good. We got a really good team. And again, I think maybe a glimpse into the future of our program. We got a lot of guys who play today that will be back and continue to recruit at the level that we believe we can. We think we've stabilized our program and have ourselves in position where we can continue to be relevant in the Big 12. And if you're relevant in the Big 12, then you're relevant nationally.
Even with, all the outside factors of Cade not playing and stuff like that, how unusual is it for a team, not a direct question about officiating, but how unusual is it for a team to win a game minus 14 in free throw attempts?
I haven't been a part of very many. I'll say that. And, we still haven't played great, Marshall. Like, Bryce wasn't very good today. Like, he played really hard. 0 for 6 from 3, 2 for 10 from the field, 8 turnovers for the guy who was our primary ball handler today. So I look at it as we overcame a lot, but boy, we got a lot that we can get better at. And if we can figure out how to, again, get better at a couple more things here between now and Thursday, I like our chances in Kansas City and certainly in Indianapolis once we get there.
Your post players have been dogged on all year for not being able to handle big guys well. It seems like they handled Derek Culver pretty well. Just kind of talk through the progression you've seen out of that.
Again, the kids put in the work. They understand that a lot of times physically, whether it be from a height standpoint in MA's situation, because he's pretty strong enough, or Caleb, who has the height but not as strong, that a lot of times they're at a disadvantage physically. But it doesn't stop them from competing. It doesn't stop them from trying to do the other things, whether it be screening or outrunning their guys to help us. I thought Matthew Alexander-Moncrief was a man today in a game where we needed him to be a man. And I'm so proud of that kid because, a lot of this, Cade's overshadowed a lot of those other guys. He's having a really good year too, kind of quietly. Certainly think he's one of the best freshmen in our league, and I look forward to coaching him for a long time.
And the last thing for me, is there an expectation that you'll have Cade and Ice at the Big 12 tournament, or kind of what's that look like?
Yeah, I don't want to presume that. It's Saturday now. We don't play till Thursday. Certainly hopeful, but it's always about where are they? As our medical people, are they telling us that they're good? And that means, can they go out and play as hard as they need to help us win? If they can do that physically, then I feel good that they'll be there, but we'll take it day by day. I'm sure I'll talk to you guys before then, and we'll give you an update.
Thanks, Mike.
Our next question comes from Danielle Dwyer from Fox 25. Go ahead, Danielle.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get my video up. There we go. Okay. Sorry, Mike. I wanted to ask you, I asked Avery this too. I jokingly said it was like headband magic for him today since he brought the headband back. But at what point do you feel maybe the the switch flipped for him maybe this season, or when did you really start seeing him kind of come into his own and really use that confidence? Because the second half of the season, he seems like a totally different player than the first half.
Yeah, not pushback, but I think it started a little earlier than halfway. He started his first game. I can't remember if he started a game last year, to be honest, but he started his first game of this year at Texas, I believe, and played really well. He fouled out. And I think since then, since he was inserted into the starting lineup, he's really gone to another level because in some ways, as much as I tell these guys how much I believe in them, I think starting sends a message to him also, right? Kind of just innately that coach really believes in me now. He's put me in the starting lineup. I don't really care who starts, to be perfectly honest. It's more important to me how we play as a group and who's in at the end of the game. But I think that might have been, if I go back and look, I bet that was kind of a turning point for him, and he's played very, very well since then.
In this season, we've seen, Farron come through with a couple key threes or kind of when you guys need that boost. But today, Keelan had kind of took his hand in that. What did you like from him today? How important is that for him to be able to come off? This season hasn't exactly been steady for him. What did you like from him today with that?
Just his engagement. And he's been playing more here in the last couple of weeks. And part of it, again, goes back to having consistency in practice. We had a heart-to-heart about a month ago, and I told him what he was doing wasn't good enough. And if he wanted to be a productive part of our team, he had to step up to the plate, and it starts in practice. He's been having more consistent practices. Probably outside of ice, he's our best rebounder. And today he actually was able to make a few shots as well. And we need that. It's another element. It's one of the elements of our team that we've been missing, quite frankly. It's just a consistent outside threat. So it's another area that if we can continue to get productivity for, it totally changes the look of our team as we head into the most important part of the season.
And lastly, for me, forgive me if this is a known thing, but I wanted to ask about the puzzle piece pin. I usually when I see that, I think of Autism Speaks, and I didn't know if that was the same for that, or if that has to go with mental awareness, or if you could speak on that.
It was for autism. Coach Huggs does a lot of philanthropy work up here, and a lot of it does with kids with autism and trying to continue to raise awareness for it. And so we certainly participated because we think it's really important.
Thank you.
All right, our final question will come from Myron Patton from Fox 25. Go ahead, Myron.
Yeah, Coach. I remember back, I think it was November on early practice where you said you wouldn't trade your guards for anybody. Seeing how not just today, your top two guards are out. You said Bryce didn't play as well today, but he hit some big shots against Oklahoma. Obviously, Avery today. Is this what you were talking about in terms of just your guards and how good you thought they could be this season?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, I have an advantage. I recruited all these dudes. So, I don't want to say I'm a prophet or anything, but I did see some things in the preseason that gave me a lot of confidence that we'd be able to match up with most people on the perimeter. And what we need to continue to get better is on our interior presence, both offensively and defensively. And certainly an area we'll continue to work on this summer, but we'll continue to recruit some depth in there as well, because again, a lot of these guards we'll have back. And if we can add some front court depth to what we have on the perimeter, again, I think it gives us a chance to take another step forward in the league.
All right, looks like that'll do it for questions. Coach, before we let you go, though, is there anything maybe big that we missed that while we've got the group together is something that you want to talk about?
Proud of these kids. Hell of an effort on the road against a really good team. I mean, that team's going to be a 2 or 3 seed in the tournament. And so I'm proud of what we did. We talked about after the Kansas game in Lawrence, a 7-game season. Going 6-1 is the second best thing you could do. And our only loss coming on the road to a team that is going to be a 1 seed. So proud of what we did and look forward to getting better when we get back.